Cheers. Hello, everyone. My name is Kadeem Robinson, and welcome to Caribbean Equality Project's Trans Day of Visibility celebration, Laidback in Heels. Normally, you'll see more people joining and shouting out, so I'm missing all the screams, but I hope you're screaming from your screens. As I mentioned, my name is Kadeem Robinson. I use they, them pronouns. I'm the policy advocate here at the Caribbean Equality Project, and I will be your host today. And I am so excited to be with you all here tonight. Tonight, you will hear from us in a new way, something that we've yet to bring to you. In the spirit of Trans Day of Visibility, a day dedicated to trans joy, existence, raising awareness on all of the issues that trans and non binary people experience. Tonight, you will hear the intimate stories and tales about love, about Caribbean transness, and you will hear that from Caribbean trans people. And that's one of the most amazing things tonight for you all today. But of course, you know me, whenever Kadeem is hosting an event, especially for CEP, I am going to require that I get some love in the audience. I am going to require that I'm getting some emojis, some Caribbean flags, some questions when the time comes, and so much more. I want it to be a nice vibe tonight because tonight we are going to have a very good vibe. Okay, so I have my drink here. It's a little bit of a clear wine, but nonetheless, because we're laying back in our heels. This is the heel that I'm wearing right now, as you can see. It's on my legs right now, just so you know. But please come sit with us, get a beverage, get your tea, get your wine, get your rum, and come join us because I am ready to introduce to you all a little bit more about what this is all going to be about.
My name is DB Brown.
My name is Tiffany Jade Monroe.
My name is Sai.
My name is Kadeem Robinson.
I was enamored with the female figures.
I just thought to myself, maybe you are a girl.
And I just remember being very confused by it.
The weirdest moment of my transness.
So my shadow's in front of me. And I just remember thinking to myself, damn, that's a sexy shadow.
Then he's like, oh, so you're non-binary, huh?
So like, this is the first time I'm ever being insulted as a woman.
And I was like, so taken aback.
It's not easy being trans and you do get hate for
The
it.
challenges that we go through on a day-to-day basis.
We're going left, right, onwards to that glory.
The best part also is realizing that it's been done before, that like it exists in the Caribbean before, and that we essentially are embodying that.
So join us on March 31st for Laidback In Heels.
Laidback in Heels.
Laidback in Heels,
Laidback in Heels.
where we will continue this conversation. I'll see you there.
Oh my gosh. What an amazing video. I'm so excited for that. Tonight, y'all, you're going to hear from not just me, because you saw me on the screen and I know I looked amazing. Thank you. I see the compliments in the comments. Yeah. I do see the compliments in the comments. Thank you so much. I love you too. But tonight you are going to hear so many stories, so much of our of just us being queer, trans, non-binary tonight as we're celebrating Trans Day of Visibility. Before we begin, and while I know that you are all coming to go get your rum, your tea, your wine, whatever it is, as you're on your way to do so, what we're going to do right now is pause for a land acknowledgement, which I will read for you right now. On behalf of the Caribbean Equality Project, we wish to acknowledge the land we are situated on, which includes but are not limited to sites we now call New York City, Los Angeles, Toronto, Guyana, Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, among others. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, the Mississaugas of the Credit River, the Lenape, Rockaway, the Tongva, and Canarsie communities. As we are positioned in a time of ongoing pandemics and precarity and largely continue to gather as non-Indigenous and settler communities, it is important to be reminded of our commitment to solidarity, coalition and decolonization efforts in support of Indigenous communities across Turtle Island, also now known as North America. Since time immemorial, these indigenous communities have lived on these lands and survived genocide and forced relocation by imperial powers. The Caribbean Equality Project acknowledges that it was founded upon the death, exclusion, and erasure of many indigenous people, including those on whose land we occupy and organize on, respectively. This acknowledgement demonstrates a commitment to beginning the process of working to dismantling the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism. Thank you all. And now we are going to get into writing it. We're going to get right in it because we have an amazing set of program, an amazing set of people that are going to be talking to you tonight. But before we begin, I just have not seen the compliment that I kind of fished 4 or 5 minutes ago, so it would be good if I got that. But also, I am so excited to introduce a wonderful panel of people who you're going to hear their stories from around love, sex, am I allowed to say that? I am. And amongst many other topics. And so I'm going to introduce our first panelist, Twinkle Paul. Twinkle Paul is a Guyanese trans woman and Caribbean Equality Project's public policy advocate. Her work has been to advocate for legislative change that will benefit the Caribbean LGBTQ diaspora. Twinkle also holds positions as a social media coordinator at the Road Project and as the strategic coordinator for Guyana Trans United. She's currently doing a bachelor degree in law and society. Recently, she has testified on behalf of trans sex workers for CEP at the New York City hearing on the repeal for the Walking While Trans ban. Here is a clip of Twinkle testifying.
My name is Twinkle Maria Paul. I'm a transgender woman, an immigrant of Caribbean descent, a community activist, and an outreach worker at Gay Men's Health Crisis. More importantly, I'm a human being. I'm here today to call upon this body to pass City Council Resolution 923, which demands that New York State immediately repeal New York State Penal Law 240.37, also known as the Walking While Trans ban. The Walking While Trans ban disproportionately affects Black and brown trans people, including transgender immigrants like myself, and put us at risk for criminalization and wrongful arrest. I moved to New York City from Guyana in 2018 because of the injustice and brutality I faced as a transgender woman in my country at the hands of society and the police. However, since arriving here, I've learned that transgender people in New York are subject to similar abuse and mistreatment because of discriminatory laws like New York State Penal Law 240.37, also known as the Walking While Trans ban. New York State Penal Law 240.37 criminalizes Black and brown transgender women just for who we are. It gave law enforcement a license to stop, frisk, and arrest us without a cause, just because of what we're wearing or where we are. Because of laws like these, I feel scared and unsafe. We're treated like criminals by law enforcement instead of human beings. Thus, I'm testifying before this committee today.
Wow. Twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. Y'all saw how Twinkle was really serious out here advocating for the rights of trans people. And, you know, normally that's the work that she does. But tonight, Twinkle is here to join us for a night of fun where I'm going to ask her some questions in addition to the many panelists that we have. So, Bestie, come on, Bestie.
I'm here, bestie. I'm here, bestie.
How you doing, Bestie?
Bestie, what happened, bestie?
Bestie, all right. You know, I'm just there, just hosting the events and thing. But I'm so excited to have you. Twinkle, what you drinking tonight? Oh, that. Oh, my. Rough drink. But we love it. Welcome to Laidback In Heels. You have your heels on, honey? I know that's right. All right. Well, Twinkle, we are really excited to have you on. And I'm really excited to have you on with the rest of our sisters who are going to join. And I'm going to introduce one of them right now as well, Tiffany Jade Monroe. Y'all, Tiffany Jade Monroe is a Guyanese Black trans woman and CEP's trans justice coordinator. Tiffany's confidence and talent for public speaking has put her at the head of many rallies and protests on behalf of CEP to speak on immigration and trans issues. Through her work, she has been able to educate and inspire those who listen to her. Here is an example of her advocating for making Trans Day of Remembrance and Trans Day of Visibility an official recognized day in New York City last City Council session.
Thank you so much, everyone, for allowing me to come here and testify on the Resolution 1487. My name is Tiffany Jade Monroe. I am a trans justice coordinator for the Caribbean Equality Project, a Queens-based community organization that empowers, advocates for, and represents Black and Brown, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, gender non-conforming, and queer Caribbean immigrants in New York City. I am to testify on the importance of recognizing November 20th annually as Transgender Day of Remembrance and March 31st annually as Transgender Day of Visibility in the city of New York. At the Caribbean Equality Project, we are thrilled that the city wants to recognize these two annual community-focused days centered on honoring and celebrating transgender and gender-expansive people. However, we wish to acknowledge the significance of why trans activists first created these days. There is an epidemic of anti-transgender violence and erasure in New York City and across the country that disproportionately impacts Black trans women and trans women of color, particularly immigrants, asylum seekers, sex workers, and refugees.
Tiffany's work is vitally essential, and she has been all over the city representing the interest of Caribbean LGBTQ people. Tiffany, please, join us on this panel.
Hi, oh my God, is the good old GT gal up in this place.
Oh, you know, so the good God, I'm come up in your feet. You know, so sorry,
I am 5'9"
Oh, well, I'm 8'7" but you know, it's okay that you're 5'9" too. I'll forgive you this time because we're laying back in our heels. You have your drink, you have your heels.
Girl, rosé all the way, but just know, people, it's non-alcoholic.
Exactly.
And girl,
exactly. We love that.
Girl, look, I'm ready to kick, troll. I'm ready.
You know, it's always so good when the girls get to just lay back in their heels and have a fun time. And there is somebody who's gonna come up here and give y'all the fun time, y'all. And so I'm going to introduce our next panelist, D.B. Brown. D.B. Brown is a trans Antiguan American and a lifelong resident of Brooklyn. Let me see Brooklyn. Is there Brooklyn in the house? With a vested interest in the mental health of Black, queer, and trans folks in the Caribbean community. She is Caribbean Equality Project's mental health outreach specialist and facilitator for CEP's Brooklyn Unchained program. If you all don't know about it, there's going to be some plugs later, so don't you worry. DB holds a master's of social work from Fordham University. Here's a little bit about DB. Yep, that's a little plug right there. DB, come join us. Oh, God.
Hi, how are you? I was sent for.
Of course you're going to do this extra ass fat. I love it.
This whole thing?
I feel like every single time somebody does that with the fan, it conjures up some spirit. And that's
some LGBT things to you.
And the LGBT, nope, them a come.
Listen, you're not right.
DB, I'm so excited to talk to you alongside Tiffany and Twinkle. But I'm not done yet. We have some more amazing folks that we're going to introduce. And next up is actually Sai. Sai is an Indo-Caribbean trans rights activist and lesbian identified woman. And she really wanted me to stress that part for y'all. So I'm just going to stress that part for y'all. She's a lesbian identified woman.
That's right.
Of trans experience at CEP. She is a facilitator of Caribbean Equality Project's Queens Unchained support group. Sai is also the Caribbean Equality Project's trans justice organizer. And here's an image of a forthcoming Unchained group that's coming up. So if you are all interested in attending Caribbean Equality Project's longest standing program, please join Sai, join DB. And with that, Sai, please come. Sai and DB have facilitated our monthly Brooklyn and Queens support group. And it is a peer-to-peer immigrant support group. And I'm so excited that tonight I get to be the one to facilitate this conversation because I get to be the one to talk to Sai about some stuff. So Sai, what's up?
I can't stop smiling. Everyone looks amazing. I'm just so filled with joy right now. Like, this is what Trans Day of Visibility is all about. 100%.
Exactly. And we're going to get into all of what Trans Day of Visibility is all about. But first, before that, DB, what you drinking, girl?
I'm drinking a little clear liquid.
Okay.
Called the Elixir of Life, maybe.
We gotta
help you out with the smooth skin, honey.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
All of the skin, honey.
She's giving us some H2O.
She's giving you hydrated.
That. What about you? What are you drinking tonight?
Well, I'm drinking some tea with notes of caramel, citrus, and currant in my brand new mug. So
leave it to Caribbean people to just bring tea anywhere. I love that for us. You know, we never stop. Before I continue and introduce our final panelists, I want to just make a plug to everybody right now. Share this link. Come in and join us. Share this with your friends. There are so many things that are going to be answered tonight. So many loving conversations we're going to have with each other. And you know, honestly, the more people see, the better for we know. So might as well just do it already. So with that, I'm going to introduce our final panelist for tonight. And I am so excited to finally bring the gang all here together. Y'all, I'm here to introduce Zoe. Zoe is an artist, an activist, and her activism for the past 7 years in Trinidad has been twofold. Primarily, she's been performing as the Caribbean drag queen, Miss Janae, since 2013. If y'all know about Miss Janae, y'all know the energy that she brings, and she is bringing that here. And Miss Janae, since 2013, has been creating safe spaces for queer people, as well as curating contemporary queer Caribbean culture. And that's that energy we love. As Miss Janae, she has created musical anthems such as Love is Love. She's done the Batman anthem. And listen, there are a few Batman anthems, I feel, but Miss Janae's Batman anthem, Miss Janae's Batman anthem.
That's right.
Y'all not allowed to say that word.
Ever.
We can say it though. But anyway, the Batman anthem has spread far and wide across Trinidad and the queer diasporic community, and she's also held formal roles in activism, such as serving as the co-chair of Pride Trinidad and Tobago, as well as serving as the community liaison officer for the Trinidad and Tobago Transgender Coalition. Here's a clip of Zoe's performances.
Ow.
I told you you weren't ready. From our generation, so they cast me up as an abomination. They want to throw me in hellfire and damnation, like we not part of the fabric of this sweet nation. They want to pretend we don't exist in society, and if we out and them and would shrink. They rush and attack and aggress me in these streets, but in the dark at the night they want to tell me how it's so.
Okay, listen. That is so amazing because you know what? Listen, that was giving everything. It a give stage. It a remember the y'all remember what's the name of the party that happens every single year when the people them clash against each other? Oh, I can't remember the name. It's giving that. It's giving that. With that, with that said, I'm going to invite Zoe to join us. Please, Zoe, come on up.
Right. Right. Ow.
Oh my
Yes, Titi, come
gosh.
in.
Zoe,
But in the
you are
dark, in
just
the night, I'ma tell me how it's sweet.
That's
Lord
right.
Jesus.
That's right.
Oh, I
That's
love that.
right.
Boy. Y'all, we are here together and we know what that means. We are ready to talk some stuff, okay? But first, I just want to say that it is such an honor to be with you all on Trans Day of Visibility. There's nothing that brings me such happiness. There's literally nothing better than just being here with you all tonight. And I'm very honored to be sharing this space with you. And I'm also, of course, very thankful for the Caribbean Equality Project for bringing us all together. And for those who don't know, the Caribbean Equality Project is a community-based organization that serves Afro and Indo-Caribbean LGBTQ immigrants in Caribbean-centric neighborhoods in New York City, such as Little Guyana in Richmond Hill, Queens, Little Caribbean in Flatbush, Brooklyn, Castle Hill and Soundview in the Bronx. This organization's work has focused on advocacy for LGBTQ and immigrant rights, gender equity, racial justice, immigration justice, mental health services, and ending hate violence in the Caribbean diaspora here in New York City, in Toronto, and everywhere. We're a bit of an international sensation, if you will. I'd say that. I think that's very fair to say. So thank you to the Caribbean Equality Project for bringing us here and for making us here celebrate ourselves, because tonight is the night where as queer, trans, gender non-conforming people, queer, transgender non-conforming Caribbean people, we gotta talk some shit. We gotta talk some stuff. And we gotta have some good time. um, and so we're going to get into it by first asking just one question that kicks us off. But before that, I want to say it one more time. Last plug. I need to see the comments. We all got dolled up
Leave
for
us
all of
comments,
y'all.
y'all.
Okay, we all
Shoot.
got dolled up for every single body here, for every single one of our listeners,
I
and
snatched
I
up my
need you.
ponytail for this.
Oh, okay. And if y'all know how hard it is to snap up a ponytail, listen to me. We don't need to give yourself so now. Give it some love, give it some
Okay.
appreciation, give it everything.
Shoot.
And also, lastly, in preparation for this video, we recorded just a little snippet about our lives, and you can find that at Caribbean Equality Project social media, where you can learn a little bit more about if you missed out a little bit on that video,
Okay.
go back and listen to it. But stay here first because we have a lot to get done and a lot to talk about. And honestly, I do feel like so we're gonna start one topic, but I'm going to talk about sort of like that aha moment, which is one of the first questions that came in the videos that you all saw. And y'all, talk to me. I want to know, like in the video, we've spoken and we talked about a particular item that that's sort of like we're connected to, and that item of to where it's all started. For some of us, it's our hair, it's our nails, it's our heels. And I want to ask, if somebody wants to sort of talk, and I think I want to ask Sai first. If you want to tell me a little bit about one item that you thought that really just helped you, and any story behind it. What's going on, Sai? Talk to me.
Hey, Kadeem.
Hey, Sai.
So I can talk about this. I just want to say before I start, though, these items that we're going to talk about, they're not just items to trans people. They're the physical manifestation of our willpower. Like, it is very hard for a lot of us to start taking those first steps to start expressing our gender in the way that we, the way in a way that makes us feel really good. And I know I told you last night that I would wear the item, which in my case was a chain, but it didn't really work with my outfit, so I didn't wear it. But that's fine. I'll describe it. It was two things. It was a silver necklace that my grandmother gave to me a few years ago, and it was a little pendant. It was a tree of life. It was painted to be silver, but it's actually brass underneath. So I had it for many years. So as you know, I was wearing it for that amount of time, it started to get worn off, and you could see that it was made of brass. Well, you know, it's not surprising considering it only cost me 50 cents at the time. I actually lost it a few months ago, but I was actually very okay with that because that was like, right now it feels like it's kind of an artifact from an earlier time, and I'm ready to move forward and get something that's, you know, really nice, that befits, you know, someone who's, you know, more secure and more safe and more comfortable in this world. And who knows, maybe I'll get a Tree of Life pendant cast in white gold or something, you know, something fancy like that.
Thank you so much. You know, I really appreciate that you said it was like the items that we have oftentimes it represents so much of us, and so many of like where our journeys begin, where they continue, and where they remain forever, you know what I'm saying? And so I actually want to bring Zoe into this, because Zoe, I want to know tell me about that first thing for you, that first item, body part thing, whatever, that really affirmed you, that began the journey, or really just really that has just maintained it, you know. I would love to hear from you.
Yeah, it's so funny you said body part. I think, you know, I always say Miss Janae saved my life. And by that, what I mean is that when I started kind of experimenting with drag and performance, I remember the first time that I did a live show and I saw myself like all suited up. It was transcendent, literally transcendent. And it was my cleavage. When I looked at my cleavage, I said, wait, just now. I said, this is two women in one. Two, not just one, but two. And you know, since then there've been of course pieces of jewelry, pieces of clothing that have, you know, stuck with me along the way. But I think embracing my body in a way that before it would have brought me shame and insecurity, being able to, you know, stand in the fullness of embracing it now, and it's my bosom of joy, and from it so much life springs forth. So yeah, that was my experience.
Oh my gosh, I really love that. DB, talk to me. You look like you have something you want to say, baby.
I do.
That-
So I guess for me, the item in question is somewhere here in this house. Don't know exactly where it is, so my bad. But I actually do have something that is very similar that I was within my reach. So this wonderful like black ivory and pearl necklace, which was given to me by my dear boyfriend. I wear this with most outfits that I have. Usually, I have pearl earrings to match this, but you know, today is definitely golden hoop season here. But this is something that brings me a lot of joy, and like with that particular elephant and this particular color scheme, I think it just kind of like, you know, resonates with me a lot. The pendant, the elephant pendant that I mentioned in my video, resonates with me a whole lot. And it's just something that I think that like really affirmed me in a way that I don't think anything else could or ever will again.
Yeah, I love that so much. I also want to say, y'all, Ono can feel free to just jump in. I mean, no one listen, no question and answer business. Like, definitely feel free to jump in and interrupt me when the time comes, because I really want to hear about these stories, because you know, one thing that I can say for myself is my newfound love. Like in the video, you'll say that my hair is like that thing that is always a source of my gender affirmation. But you know, when we were preparing for this, you know, Sai kind of reminded me of a story about the first time I wore heels in public, or one of the first times I wore heels in public in the daylight. And you know, I just wore these like really tight black pants, and I had this mint turtleneck on, and I was going to meet two politicians who ran for city council, And I literally came in and I was like, hey, how's it going? What's going on? And I just remember in that moment being like, I just really want to wear this. I just really feel compelled to. I just simply have to. And with that, I want to know, like, when has that feeling for y'all? Anybody, this is anybody, but when did you feel like you simply just had to wear, you had to come out, you had to present, you had to put on this, because it was just what was perfectly right in that moment?
Can I go?
Yeah, Tickle, come on, girl.
I mean, I don't like talking the magistrate story over and over and over and over, but I think when a magistrate tell me that I couldn't go in his courtroom with my female attire, I just feel like I had to put it on. I just felt more connected to it. I just
Could
felt
you
like,
talk a could you talk a little bit
listen,
more about that for the folks who don't know what's going on with this magistrate business?
oh,
Yeah,
yes.
give a little 2 minute summary.
So I'll get 2 minutes summary. I was attacked by somebody while traveling on a public transportation in Guyana. Somebody hit me to my head. And I went to the story went to court, I get charged and everything. And the person who hit me didn't get charged. Anyways, when I go to court, the magistrate didn't allow me to come in the court with my female attire. He said this was against laws, this was against policy, this was against his ugly mind. Anyways, but and he tell me to take off the clothes and come back as dressed in a male, and I was like, not even a bit of it. Like I feel like if there's any time I feel more connected to my clothes, it was that moment when I know to myself that I wouldn't adhere to a magistrate telling me change my clothes to come in a courtroom, especially when I ain't doing nothing wrong. Excuse me? Not at all.
Not at all. I know, sometimes when we're like feeling the most visible, it's oftentimes where it feels the most resistant because of everything around us. And yet we still are visible and we still must be. Tiffany, may I see you go off me? Way off, it's the girl.
Well, I will always say this. I know I probably have like a few friends or like people that know me from Guyana here watching. Thank you guys so much for joining this live. I will say that when people see me now, they be like, "Oh my gosh, is that you still?" Because people know me as a closeted person when I was in Guyana. Honestly, I never knew Twinkle. I was so scared to even come out in Guyana because Guyana was so like, ish. And honestly, I didn't really want that for myself at that time, and coming here to United States, I felt so free to be who I wanted to be this fighter, and to also be this beautiful trans woman that is here in front of you today, Tiffany Jade Monroe. But even in Guyana, I still would have had to find some way to still feel that comfort of this identity that I was hiding for many years. And I literally used to go into stores and literally buy ladies' lingeries. That's what I said in mine. Like, I used to put ladies' lingeries on. I used to put on my sleeping attire over it, and just having the lingerie just wrap my body and hug these curves and everything. It just felt so like beautiful. It felt so like, oh my gosh, you have arrived, sis. Like, this is you. These lingeries made me feel that I could like topple the world. I felt so like comfortable in it, and it was for me. And that's like what really, really, really did it for me. I love lingeries. I literally wear lingeries 24/7. I literally have a lingerie right now under this. But I love me some lingeries.
Oh, I love that because so what's the lingerie bit? Like, what's your fave? What's the lingerie that you need to put the girls on? What's going on?
Ooh, you need to get you some Fenty. I will say it to people. Victoria, that secret has already been spoken. You need to get you some Fenty, some Savage X Fenty. Oh my gosh. Those lingeries are to die for.
Mm, mm. Listen, we love feeling sexy. We love feeling
Yes.
sexy. We love feeling sultry, and I feel like that's what the lingerie did. So I want somebody to just chime in with me. Like, tell me how sexy your transness is. Like, give me something around this. Somebody.
I love that Tiffany said that she felt like she could topple the world. you know, these like little things, you know, it may seem like little things, you know, like
Did she say she
putting
felt
on-
like she could top the world on top of the world?
Or she could, right.
Well, it's almost the same
I feel
thing,
like,
isn't it?
girl, listen, I felt like I could top the world, top or whatever. I was on top. I could twist it, turn it, pull it around. I was on top.
Yes.
Oh, baby.
I was
That's
on
the
top.
It's the only time she is. So. But yeah, I love that she said that because, you know, I remember when I was, you know, I would put on a little bit more feminine stuff every time I would go out. And I remember I started with earrings, these like little blue gem earrings. And I remember just standing by my front door having to like psych myself up to go outside. And it was, you know, like just a simple act of wearing earrings, you know, these little tiny things that you wouldn't even notice if you weren't looking at me properly. It, you know, but it took so much willpower. And, you know, I think that's kind of how we build ourselves up. You know, we have to constantly push ourselves to move beyond what we were told we were. And in the end, it makes us very, very strong. I mean, sometimes I would open that front door and immediately someone would say something to me. You know, I remember once, as soon as I opened the front door to go out, this guy was walking with his wife and his children, and he snatched his kid away from me because she was walking next to the front door. And he was like, don't stand next to that thing. You know, get away from that thing, you know? And it's, you know, it hurts, but I mean, look at me now, you know? I think it was well worth the effort, right?
Yeah.
And Sai, you know, I just want to say this to you. I'm glad you said that, Sai, because I want the world to know, and I want people to know is that people see trans women as a joke, as a facade, as this clown show. This isn't a clown show, honey. If you want a clown show, get you to the circus. We're women. And
Universe Soul Circus, baby.
Listen, we are our kind of woman. We don't want to be cis women. We are our kind of women. And that's something I want people to know, because they always hear somebody like, oh, you just want to be a cisgender woman. You just want to be a cis. Oh, no, honey. I want to be my own kind of woman. Whatever I want to be. Whether it's if I want to wear hair or not, whether I want to wear feminine clothes or not, I want to be my own kind of woman. Okay? Period.
We have a comment that says, you know, in the words of Maya Angelou, "Does my sexiness offend you?" In her poem, "I Rise," and surely it oh, there we go. Y'all just pulling that up on a big screen. You know, it's so important. I find, you know, one thing that I've always been learning from folks is that, like, every step you do to push yourself beyond this construction of gender that you've sort of like been coerced into, it always feels like such a hard moment the first couple times you do it, maybe the first 300 times you do it, and then at some point it gets to just be the norm for you in your world, in your existence, in the times of your friends. And you know, that process of normalizing yourself and constantly pushing yourself is one of the most beautiful things, you know. So like, I really appreciate both you and Tiffany Sai for bringing that in, because it actually makes me want to sort of like ask about, you know, one question about like how we see ourselves, and ooh, am I breaking? I'm not breaking up. Am I breaking up? Miss Una had
just a little bit.
Okay. Oh yeah, I think I'm back now. You know, Optimum, what's going on? It's Trans Day of Visibility. What's going? Y'all can't do this. It's giving transphobia.
The ghetto.
But I, you know, I wanted to ask, like, when you feel your most visible, what is that like? You know, what is your power when you are at your most transness? if I can say it that way. I want to talk about what that looks like for us right now in this moment, and you know, just when it all made sense, and also when we really find that we're at our power the most. I'm going to call somebody. Yes, Twinkle, you may go say anywhere. So cool.
I mean, girl, Bestie, you know me, right?
I know you,
Anyway,
bestie.
I think if you look back at there's various periods in my life where I feel like, myself and everything. I can remember there was a time when I just had the idea that I'm a woman in my head, right? I was very small. I didn't have nobody to talk to about this or anything, so I had to figure things out for myself. And then there's one day I just went and take a shower, and then I come back upstairs, and there was this wardrobe that we call it, or closet or whatever, in my room, and then I just take the towel from my waist and I just put it up above my breast, and I just wrap it around and look myself inside of the mirror. And when I look at myself inside the mirror, I was like, that's you, girl. That's
Oh,
you.
Twinkle, you brought me back to my childhood, y'all. I remember I would shower as well, and I used to just like put the towel up here and just cock up my bottom and just push up my chest and just walk
Right.
out in the house.
Man,
Just
sis, you
walking
got
out
to talk
in
about
the
you when you
house.
look yourself from the side and you just watch it.
And
Right.
these are the things. Oh my god, y'all! It's so funny that we say that, because like we literally all do this. Like it's such
Yes.
the small things that we do to get to where we need to go. Listen, I absolutely love that, Twinkle. I love that story. Does somebody what does that remind you of, y'all, as it relates to like your childhood and growing up, and like those pocket moments where you're like, let me attempt to be a woman right now, or
Girl,
femme.
listen. So, with me, like I always was like, I was always a little off, okay? I was always just a tad bit just like different from everybody, right? So when we used to go out and play all the games, because way back in the day, like when you watch TV, you go outside like after Saturday morning cartoons or whatever, you're gonna go play with your friends and you're gonna reenact whatever it is that you saw. So, me and my Power Rangers. So you know where I'm going with this. Power Rangers. So I am
Mhm.
obviously the pink Power Ranger. Like, if you
Yeah.
do not know that I'm not the pink Power Ranger, Kimberly, not Catherine, because I hate Catherine. But I am the pink Power Ranger. And if you don't accept that, then later. Like I can't do it. But like for me, that started such like a powerful to envision myself in that type of role and in that type of way. It was powerful, and it's like, well, maybe I can be it, and I can make it a reality, right? So even
Yeah.
now, like everything that I do, even when I put on like a face, it's like kind of like me putting on that armor or that suit, right? And it kind of like gives me my superpowers. Says right now I am feeling my oats with this beat, okay? But
I'm
it's
feeling
like,
your
hey,
oats too, baby.
but the thing, but really for me, it's like it just kind of brings out that like that inner confidence that I know I have, and it's like it just kind of like solidifies everything. It brings everything together, and a lot of people get into this whole like, oh, you don't need makeup, you don't need to wear makeup. Like, no, makeup does a whole lot. It shows not only my artistry. It doesn't show my creative. It doesn't only show my creativity. It's it also brings alive that inner fierceness, right? So like, everybody, just allow things to bring it out of you. Like, you don't have to like reject these things, but listen.
Yes.
Man,
Yes, Twinkle.
I had a sister that used to tell me the makeup enhance your beauty.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly. That's all it does. It doesn't mask anything. It
He
doesn't
said, you
hide
just
anything.
enhance your beauty.
It
You're already
enhances it.
beautiful.
Okay,
And you
listen. And you just letting the world know it.
I will
Yeah.
say this to you. Like anyone knows Tiffany, so anyone that know me know I come with the lace front well laced. I come out with the face well beat. My nails is done. My toes are done. The outfits are
Right.
always on point. And I will say this to you. Picking what like transformed me more, what gave me that power is to actually find outfits, whether it's on Fashion Nova, whether it's on some website, like find outfits and just put it all together, put this together. It feels like, as DB said, like a whole artistry. This feels like a masterwork. This worth more than the Picasso. This is worth more than
I know that's
Van Gogh.
right.
Mona Lisa.
Mona Lisa. Listen, this is Mona Tiffany smiling.
That's right.
That's right. So I'm
the
saying
color
to you, like, when you the transformation is just so beautiful. Like, we go through so much on this journey, and to this transformation, whether it's by the hormone therapy and all that stuff. And I will tell people that it's so worth it. Like, at the end, when you see that transformation, when you put together yourself and you hit the streets and heads be turning, falling, you'll be like, ooh, you'll be, ooh.
Pick it up.
Let me tell you, it just feels so gorgeous. Like, and you sit there like, ooh, is this what it's like to be a woman? Is this the attention that women get? Just to, I don't know, it's just so beautiful and so gorgeous. And it makes you feel so powerful to know that, you know, you could do all of this and your identity is affirmed in public.
Yeah.
You know, it just feels so amazing. It is.
Yeah. Just be careful with that because men are crazy.
That's right. Listen,
baby, you two topics ahead of me now. Hold on just a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We can leave men out of this for now.
Men.
Man, just leave me that man. But you know, you know, I want you to, I want to hear from you honestly, like, you know, especially coming from TNT, you know, we see TNT, anyone from the Caribbean see TNT as the soca central, you know, the soca is something that, you know, lets you be free. The rhythms, the music just makes you want to jump in unity. So, like, I really want to hear from you, like, when it comes to being powerful, especially being a trans woman from TT.
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, I was going to talk about when you asked the question, when, you know, just feeling most in your transness. Before I left Trinidad, I was working for the national TV station, and I had this run-in with the HR manager. And she had such a problem because at the time I was just coming into my transition, and I said to myself, I said, how can I keep this job but still show up to work feeling at my best? And I said, well, girl, it's two things I need. I need a brow. If it's one thing, I need that brow arch. And two, I must wear my bra. You know, I had to wear this male outfit, which I just made it very gender neutral. But I was like, I'm gonna wear my bra and keep myself supported through the day.
That's right.
And I think sometimes we understand that support to also be armor. And two, I said, you know, that brow, it has to hurt feelings. When you add
sharp
a brow
enough
like this,
to cut girl. Okay, somebody, because that is how a bro is done.
Thank you. And I sat in a meeting with the HR manager, and she said, you know, I just don't understand this. Could you explain this to me? And I said to her, I said, would you leave your house without a bra? She said, well, no, of course not, whatever. I said, well, it's the same thing for me. You know, I said, the same way you want your breasts to feel not just supported, but you want them up. You want them present with you throughout the day. I said, it's the same for me. And I had this unique 360 moment where another one of my managers at that TV station, Tiffany, to answer your question, when it came to the come down and they told me, you are not allowed to work here in your identity. And if you want to be a woman, go and do that somewhere else. But to show up to work, you have to show up as your government ID and dress as and etc. When I was leaving, another one of my managers who she had a hard time, and I could see throughout the process, she wanted to accept me. She wanted to embrace me in the fold, but she couldn't figure this whole out. She told me, she said, you know, I have to tell you an interesting story. I came to, you all know Juve is the opening of Carnival for Trinidad. And in Juve that year, I was topless. And it was one of my most liberating moments to parade through the streets of Trinidad and Tobago at 4 a.m., 5 a.m., seeing the sun come up. But let me tell you,
The girls
glitter,
all out.
paint.
The girls are
Listen,
glistening.
Girls are all
girls
out,
out
honey.
and say,
My
"Good
nails are gonna fall
morning."
off, girl. My nails gonna fall off.
I had my experience
love
like that too. Dyke March 2019, I think. I was wearing a black cowboy hat, just suspenders, and all black jeans and boots, and I was just
Ooh.
marching down
Okay.
New York City, and
I
it
know
was such
that's
a
right.
it was such a fun
He's giving
experience.
us some.
I
I'm
know
gonna
that's
take that
right.
horse to the Old
Old
Town
Town
Road.
Road.
It's my
Ride till I
BJ.
can't no.
Yes.
I guess.
Yeah, and the interesting wrap up was this manager. When I was leaving, she came to me and she said, "I'll be honest with you. When I saw you at Juve, I didn't know it was you." She said, "But I said to my girlfriend, who is that woman parading with her breasts out?" And she told me, it was only a week ago I looked at you and I realized you were that woman that I saw. And it was such a powerful moment for me. Of just 360. When we choose to really embrace ourselves and live authentically, people see us without even recognizing who and what they're looking at until such a time. So yeah, that's
It's that being
Period, man.
invisible
Period.
until you're not invisible, and suddenly it's like
yeah.
you're hyper visible. um I actually thank you so much, y'all. I actually want to shift a little bit because I think one thing that as I was reflecting on the questions, I've realized that in my organizing and in my past 2 years here, I've always felt affirmed and loved anytime I stepped into a CEP space, anytime I step into the space with my friends, my family, etc., etc. And so I thought it was so important to sort of talk about this, about like who those folks who are there with us in our transition, in our journey into ourselves, whether that be love, partner, men, CEP and more. And I want to hear from you all a little bit about the people in your lives who've helped you with the transition, who've always made you feel as empowered, or folks we're still no, you know what? That's my question. Who are the folks helping us out in the transition? Who are the folks with us throughout this entire time, guiding us, not even guiding us, but accompanying us, being with us there every step of the way? And I want DB, I want you to start, babes. Yeah.
Moi? Me?
Open
Yeah,
up that
yeah.
girl. You
Are you
open it.
moi? Are you?
Oh my gosh, I feel so.
Listen, I think I'm drunk. I might be high off of the sugar, but I think I'm getting
I
there.
thought that was non-alcoholic.
It is indeed non-alcoholic. This child don't drink.
Okay, girl. Sure.
Yes,
Sure.
DB.
But me. Okay, so my and the thing is, it's like the people who are supporting me the most through this transition are like the people who I thought that would the least likely be here with me during this journey, right? So first off, it's my loving boyfriend, Steven. Oh my God, we've been together almost 5 years, y'all. It's almost been 5 years, and he has been literally from
Congrats,
point
Stephen.
A. Yes, he ain't listening, but like when when this plays back, I'll make sure he sees it. But he's been there with me from point A, literal point, actually point zero till now. He's been there like through the ups and downs, through the questioning, through the temper tantrums. He's been there through the whole entire transition from like the physical changes and everything. And I'm not going to say that it was easy. I'm not going to say that like this was like a walk in the park, because it wasn't. But one thing he did do is like he stood by me. That's something that I just never expected, number one, any person to do, let alone a man. But he really like saw me as who I truly was. Like he really sat and wanted to learn more about this transition. He wanted to learn with me. He wanted to go on this journey with me. He wanted to know what was going on. He wanted to know what the hormones were doing. He wanted to know all these things. He was actually helping me research a lot of what I was going through and would bring me information like when I was like stuck. So like he has been such a rock for me in this time of transitioning, and I am nowhere near where I want to be, but he is more than willing to be there with me. And I love him for it. I love him so much. Um, the second person actually is my mom, like, and that was surprising, and that happened at Christmas. So this past Christmas was my first Christmas out to my family as any bit of transgender, right? And like when we were opening presents, because I gave everybody their presents or whatever, when I was opening mine from everybody, every last single present was affirming. Like my brother got me this wristband with the trans symbol on it. My sister actually got me this cute makeup bag. You look at this cute makeup bag and like a bunch of stuff that I need. And my mother got me this. My mother got me this wonderful Michael Kors bag, a Michael Kors coat, and all these affirming gifts that I will not cry, that I did not think that she would give me, because I just didn't think that she viewed me as legitimate in my identity. And when I opened my my presents and started bawling, she was like, "Well, why are you crying?" Like, "Well, because I see you. I see you." And that right there, just like, waterworks abound, obviously. But that I the least likely that I thought to ever be like really supportive of this journey. And like she's been really trying to learn pronoun usage, trying to learn terms, trying to learn the process and all these things. So I would say those two, for sure.
Mhm. Wow. First of all, waterworks are perfectly fine here. We're going to cry tonight because that
No,
that
we
is
not.
that
I
is
took too
beautiful.
long in this phase.
Okay, that part. I do recognize that. But we'll cry inside. um um I mean, Zoe, do you want to jump in here? I think I saw you.
I saw Twinkle. Twinkle was ready.
Twinkle. Thank you.
Yeah, hi ladies. How the night going for y'all?
So
Oh,
far,
wait, now
so
we can
good,
have a
baby.
toast or a cheers or something,
Yes.
Here's to DB's family and DB's partner.
Yes, it's support is so important on your journey, right? And when you have the support of certain people, it's just something to keep forever, and something that will never ever remove from because these are the lowest part of our lives when we really want somebody, and the people that show up and step up there, you always gotta remember them. In my case, when I remember when I first went to Georgetown, and I started sex working, and some of the sisters come over from Suriname, and they had their hormones because we used to buy. Well, they used to buy it from off the counter, under the counter, back door. Somewhere we used to get the hormones, and the breasts used to come up nice and these things. So now the girls that had breasts on the road sells them at a better price. So I was like, damn, I gotta get some breasts out here, cause if you're filling the condoms with some water, it's 2 pieces of sponge or something you're just going down the road with. Anyway, so when I expressed this feeling, this thought that I need hormones to a sister, the sister was like, "I can carry you Paramaribo. Don't worry, I can carry you Paramaribo." And my sister picked me up at night from the road out of nowhere, collect me in a car and said, "Be ready, we going." And mobile girls like we, you ain't got to get a suitcase, nor you got to get a couple things. The most important was a passport, and I had to pick up the passport, a little bag with 2 pieces, and I went over. My sister took me over there, showed me the road, carried me to get the hormones in the same place. And when after I take hormones for about 3-4 weeks or 3-4 months, and you just start see these changes on your body. I just said, God bless my sister. Until today, no matter what, like right now, she's at a difficult time in her life. She's okay with me sharing this. Like she's in a difficult time of her life, suffering with some addiction issues. But I'll never, ever, ever see my sister less than the person I know. I love her daily, and my sisters, my trans mom. Oh my God, there's so much support and so much support stories that I could talk about. But my trans family overall. This CEP family here, Zoe, Kadeem, Dee, Tiffany, Sai. Yeah, I know when we get together, especially when we go in the hot tub, that we ready to talk during this moment. And some, and, you know, but
Swimsuit
I think,
Guan.
yeah, I think my sisters are my greatest support since
Fun
I come
time.
out, and my mom, you know, and yeah, I'll be forever grateful to them and do whatever I can to make sure me and my sisters remain in a good relationship for a long time. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You reminded me of this one time. I think it was the last party I went to before the pandemic. And it was a Caribbean queer trans party. So if it's a Caribbean queer trans party, everybody at boom flick, everybody at jump up and down, everybody at this, everybody at that, and it was immaculate. And I remember dressing, going up, and I think this is when I was sort of like still, what is non-binary? What is that? Like, am I whatever? I feel like that was in my heyday days, essentially. And um, I dressed up. I had like a little button-up shirt, pants, and I looked like a very masculine kind of like. It was giving trade, and
Giving butch.
it was giving that.
Giving
And
very butch queen.
I remember being like,
The
I
Butch
was
Queen
sending
realness.
pictures. It was kind of giving that. I remember sending before adjusting that. I remember like buying this amazing bodysuit that I was going to wear that night, and then I took a picture of it. I sent it to all my friends, and I'm like, "This is what I'm coming in, so y'all better watch the fuck out."
Yes.
And I remember at the last minute just changing into what felt comfy, into what felt normal, into what felt like I was supposed to. Um, and I remember that night, drunk, I started crying because I remember saying, like, I'm not wearing what I'm supposed to wear. And I'm feeling self conscious because I think that means I'm not non binary if I'm not dressing up this way. And if I'm not doing this, I don't do that. And I remember
Ooh,
I remember
right.
I remember my best friend, she pulled me aside and was like, "Let me tell you something, bitch." And she said it this way. She was great. It was very loving, very endearing. She was just like, literally nothing matters. The outfit does not matter if this is what you're saying, if this is what you're feeling, and if this is what you want to feel. And I remember like bawling the whole time, and because I think what was happening was just like a really intense breakthrough of just me recognizing that I could just simply be, do, wear, exist however I wanted to. And that it felt as if I'm cruising, aren't I? Okay, great. It felt as if, like I wasn't allowing myself to have that access. But if it wasn't for that friend, um, I really would not have had that moment where it's like, oh, literally it doesn't matter, babes. Like you can just you will be fine. And so I hear you, Twinkle, when you're like, there are the girls and your friends who literally carry you and validate you throughout this process and really hold you and say like, baby, you're I hear you. You that's not the case right now. Like I see you this way, and this is how you are because you've told me that this is who you are. So that is all that there is. There is nothing more to do. And it's always so great to have those kinds of folks in your life.
Yes.
Honestly, you know, oh my gosh, I'm already like crying early now. I haven't even spoken yet, but when I when I hear all of you guys, you gorgeous women talk about, um, those people that were there for you. I sat there and I asked myself like, who was there for Tiffany at the beginning of Tiffany, um, and honestly, I really wanted like that support of a friend or a family member to actually be there for me and like help me, because even if I wasn't doing it, I don't even know, like I just felt as if everything I was doing was so wrong. um But I will say to you that my biggest supporter that I've had and will always have is Mohammed Q. Amin. Um, I will say to you, Detox Bustier. I remember when I really wanted this transition so badly, and I reached out to Mo, and and anyone knows Mo knows. Mo will always tell you that, girl, I'm a whole queer Indo Caribbean person. I don't really know much on transition for the trans, but I will still help you. Mohammed was there for me. Um, Detox was actually the one that actually signed me up with Metro Plus, took me to Aperture, so I could have gotten the enrollment for my hormones. Um, they were really, really behind me when I said I want to transition. And with everything I faced during this transition, I was told by relatives I was doing too much, and I was told that, oh, even women don't do this. Like if I put on an outfit or I put on something that was, I just felt was me. I faced all this ridicule, this hate. I was told I'm gonna burn in hell for all eternity. It was crazy, and I just really, and sometimes we could say now that we don't really need the affirmations of family members, but like I really, really, really wanted that one relative to actually see me and say, "Hey, you are Tiffany, and you are beautiful." I told many of them my name is Tiffany, and I was still called that dead name. And I just felt like, what else can I do? And Caribbean Equality Project actually, affirmed my identity. I went to the Unchained support group, which was something so amazing for me, and they accepted me for who I am. Whether I wanted to be Tiffany, whether I wanted to be Jade, whether I was still trying to find out who I was, they still accepted me, and they called me by the right name that I wanted to be called. And the organization has sheltered me and given me this love. And this love ended up blossoming to me finally accepting myself for who I am and sharing that love with others. And to now, I still have the support of all of you, including Mohammed and everyone else in the organization. And now I met my boyfriend, who actually gives me that support as well too. I'm telling you, my boyfriend plugs in those injections, pull them bad girls out, inject my leg, and he now has taken over what CP has started for me. The torch was passed to him, so he now would say, "Did you take your hormones? When is your next injection?" I'm telling you, he's like Dr. Darrell, all these gloves, and I was like, mm-mm. And he gives me my shots and everything, and that's what I wanted, and it still hurts me to know that I couldn't have gotten that from a relative. And I had to receive that love and that affirmation from strangers who are not my family, because you guys are my family. What am I saying? Like, you guys are my family. And I know Muhammad just expresses love, and Muhammad would always express his love, and I always express love for Muhammad. Like, I want to curse right now, but I don't want to. But Muhammad, I bleep love you, okay? I love you so much. I love all of you so much. And here I am to the world, Tiffany Jade Monroe.
We are your family, Tiffany. We do love you
Yes.
so much.
And that's
We
on
love you.
period.
We got you, girl.
We have you, and it feels so great to be able to say this, because 3 years ago, like, I would never imagine knowing queer trans Caribbean people,
You're
and
right.
doing so in a way where and I'm speaking as somebody who came out twice, three times in this country, and not when I was living back home. Like, we knew about queer and trans people, well, more so cis gay men, but coming here and sort of like being with y'all has really opened up so much, and at the same time, it is valid, that grief we have, that the kind of love we want from our families that we get everywhere else, tends to feel limited or at capacity. And it is very valid to grieve that, um, yeah. um, Great. I want to sort of like, yes, sorry for somebody. Food. Okay. I wanna sort of like stick to this concept of love. Tiffany, you talked about your boyfriend, Dr. D, and we're literally just going to call him Dr. D from now
Dr.
on.
D.
Oh, okay.
Everybody needs a Dr. D.
That's right.
Okay.
Well,
I did
and
not.
Saya-
Wait, there's no one
That's
talking about Dr. D?
That's
That's right.
Dr. D.
Dr. D,
Sai
right?
is
Is
looking
Dr.
for
D.
Dr. V, not
Dr.
Dr.
D?
D. Right, Sai?
Okay.
I was just about to say, you girls are too much.
Do not mix
Listen.
me.
Melissa, we want Dr. D. Sai needs some Dr. V.
That's right.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's right.
Period. And that's all period.
You see the trouble y'all gonna get me in?
We not on TikTok. There are no community guidelines here.
Bless the Lord.
That's right. I know that's right. But
It's Trans Visibility Day.
that part,
Okay.
and we're going to be visible. Period. But you talked about DB, Tiffany. You talked about the love of a partner. Many of us have talked about the love of a friend, and I just kind of want to like go into that a little bit more. Sort of like what has felt new about all the different love that you've experienced as y'all have stepped into your transness. What is it like to have the love of your partners, your families, your friends? The things that come with love when you're hooking up. But that's not love, is it? But we'll get to that in a second. It is, right. But I want to talk a little bit about that and about the love that we've experienced, the love that we surround ourselves with. And Sai, I would love to start with you.
Good, because I have things to say about this.
I sense it. I sense it in your face.
Mhm. I mean, I've been on hormones now for 5 years. My hormone anniversary was recently, actually. It was March 9th. So it's been 5 years.
Cheers to
Happy
that.
anniversary. Drink to
you.
that.
But before that, I didn't have love at all, period. I had friends, but they weren't really my friends. They were friends with someone else. This image, the image that I put on for people, the idea of what people wanted me to be. So I never had anyone that really knew who I was. And as you could imagine, that was very, very painful. For the longest time, I thought I was never going to have love. I was never going to have sex. I was never going to know what it was like to be in a family, like really be in a family or be the head of a family. Never have real friends. And it was very debilitating, as you can imagine. And now it's like the horizon is unlimited, I can finally, it's not to say that I'm perfect, I don't always communicate the best, but I can actually try. I don't hate myself like that anymore. I actually am someone who I know deserves love, because before I thought I didn't. I thought I thought I was an abomination. I thought I was a freak. Like it was impossible to be a trans person or a woman or anything that wasn't me. And now I have tools that I can actually use to communicate to people. I've had it proven and shown to me time and time again that people want to be in my life, they want to love me, and that I can offer them the same thing. And I have a life now to actually share with people. Before I didn't have that. And it's not just because I'm trans. It's because I've met so many wonderful people who are willing to see me as I am. And I spent a long time. I spent those first 3 years of my transition looking for chosen family, and it's one of the reasons I'm here. You people, you girls are my chosen family. And it's why I do the support group. People like Tiffany. I was like Tiffany at one point. coming into a support group. I remember the first support group I ever came to. It was for Salga NYC. They're a South Asian queer organization. And it was a couple days after Trump first got elected, 2016. So it was packed. It was like 50 people there. The biggest group I've ever seen. And, everyone was talking. I didn't know anyone, right? But I just remember walking in and just being struck by like, oh my God, I've never seen so many brown queer people in my life. That was the first thing. I just remember I had to sit down because I was just like, oh my God. Because I used to think I was the only one. And this was when it really showed. I didn't at the time pick up on it, but this was the first time I ever really connected with people properly and for real. And everyone was going around talking about how scared they were and like how they needed to mobilize, and they were talking about like their immigration stuff. And but when it came my turn to talk, I was very honest. I was like, I'm struggling with cross-gender feelings. That's what I said. And that I didn't know if I had what it take to live that life, and that I think I might want to die instead. And the room got like very quiet, and everyone just started outpouring love to me. And I remember this one person, he even offered to give me a dress. I'd never even thought about wearing women's clothing, but and I became friends with that person. We had a pretty good friendship, but unfortunately he had to move out of New York City. But so it was like, it's one of the it's the reason I do Unchained, because it was such an instrumental journey for me to be in that space, that particular space, and have those people, have people like me who understand what I'm going through and won't judge me. And it's such a big honor that I get to facilitate it for CEP. It really is the biggest honor in my life. So.
And if y'all have been to an Unchained group that Sai has facilitated, both Sai and DB, y'all know that it is truly a space where folks can come and express all that they need to, and feel so affirmed. Like I have relied on the Unchained group throughout this pandemic. I can't go now because I got class, but it's okay, girl. But when Sai had took over, it really brought so much new things into the program, and Sai, you do such a great job of like holding all the feelings that we need to be held, and it's really great that we have, as trans queer Caribbean people, that tool, as you mentioned. And that and so many folks rely on you for that, that same thing that you bring out to the world. So thank you. And I think, we have to recognize that on this Trans Day of Visibility, because Unchained is so essential to the well-being of so many queer trans Caribbean people. And the work that you and DB do are just, it's just amazing.
Yeah, and I love being able to facilitate alongside with DB. I've said this to you before. Like, I always learn something. I always pick up on something when I see you, do your work at the Brooklyn Unchained, or when we did co-facilitating. It really, I really do admire you, D. You always have something to teach me, and I love that. And everyone here, the reason we are in CEP is because we've been through it. Like, we've been through the violence, the rejection, the self-loathing, the indoctrination. We do all, we've been through it, and that's why we're doing this. It's because for a lot of us, we didn't have anyone to help us, We didn't have anyone to show us what to do or how to do it, or if it was possible, or what, it looked like, what it could look like in the future, if you did do it. And this is why I'm so happy that we're doing this event today. Really, I am. And I hope that the people who are watching this, the reason we tell these stories is because if you're like us, chances are you'll go through something like it. And it is totally normal. There's people out there who know. There are people out there who are willing to talk about it, to help you, support you. And, that's really what the Caribbean Equality Project is all about, you know. And you know, there's a reason we have so many beautiful and powerful trans people in this organization.
And you know,
Yes, Tiffany, go ahead,
sorry,
babes. No, babes, go
sorry.
ahead. This is a
You,
conversation.
you know, like you know, Twinkle and I, we're both from Guyana. You know, Twinkle was here before me, but like meeting her has been so amazing in my life. Honestly, it's great when you could find an amazing trans woman, someone just like you, from Guyana. It's so amazing. It shows us that there is hope for the Caribbean someday. There is hope for this world. And I will say to you, like, the love I have received from Caribbean Equality Project, that's why I said to you guys are my family. The love I receive from you guys are so amazing. The love to do everything to continue on, because I too have troubled in this life with suicide, you know, and coming here with whatever happened to me in Guyana and everything that I've been through, you know, coming here, um, trying to like bring my identity out. It was such a struggle for me. And to navigate this country was like so brutal for me. It was very hard. And for me to like blossom into this amazing, beautiful butterfly now. And for me to say to you that I've been through it, like I've been there. You know, I'm still there because transitioning is a journey. It's not a snap finger and it's gone or it's finished. Like you're still going through this journey, and it's just like foundations, and we're just going and going and going until we reach to that moment where we're like, hey, you know, it's done for me. I'm this beautiful, gorgeous goddess, and that's it for me now. And I have just been absorbed by the love of all of you. Sai, you know, you and I have been working together, and I love you so much, Sai. Like you talk to me, you've been very like open with me. And you know, I can always come out and be open to everyone here. And I'm not ashamed to say that I too have troubles with the fact of being a trans asylum seeker, the fact of shaking in my boots, knowing that one day that I could just be gone in the blink of an eye because the system has us in this waiting queue, and we're sitting here waiting. And what is being done? What is being done, Biden? What is happening? And I'm sitting here waiting. You promised, and we're waiting. And this is the thing that we want people to know. There's many, 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 many trans asylum seekers in the United States that are waiting to be a part of this country, that are waiting to show the love that they have to this country. We're all waiting. And the system just puts you in a position where you feel this deep darkness that's it for you. Like you just want to quit. Like you just tell yourself, should I have stayed in my country? Should I have even left? Like what am I doing now? Should I just take my life and that should be it? And I'm telling you, like I battle with that frustration 24/7. Like it's on my mind constantly. And I thank the love of CP, and I thank the love for my partner for actually sitting through. My partner sat through with me during all of this. For him to love someone that is a asylum seeker, that too was amazing for me, because many people don't really want to give us that type of love because of our current status here in the United States. And I'm just saying that I we need something to be done, honestly. And the love that everyone has to give is so beautiful. The love that CP has to give is so amazing. This work that CP is doing is so amazing. And we want any queer LGBTQ Caribbean people out there, reach out to us. We have love to give you. You're not getting love where you are, reach out to us. CP has love to give to you.
Mm,
And
mm.
we love
I,
you.
That's
Come on,
right.
girl.
That's
I
right.
I love that. That you're not wrong. You're not wrong. CP is always here. You can hit our line. Somebody's likely going to put in the comment where you can follow CEP. So somebody please do that right now. And we also, before we continue, I just want to say that to all our audience listening in, first of all, thank you for your presence and also your welcome for our presence tonight. I also want to tell you all that we're open to questions. If you ever want to ask any question in the comment, we'll be checking those as we're sort of like coming to our last 30 minutes of the program. And talking a little bit more and sharing a bit more of our stories. But if there's anything that resonates, anything that you want to follow up on, ask us, let us know. Oh, there we go. We already have a comment. Okay, great. There we go. So just want to say thank you all. And yeah, that was my little plug for y'all to jump in. But I want to continue and talking about this piece around love just for a hot second because I did promise that we will talk about love and intimacy and all of that thing, and I guess we just gonna have to do it because and one thing that I want to talk about. Oh, somebody said CP is a space for everyone. I love my family, all of you on the panel. You look beautiful. Keep up the great work. See, we're getting the love. We love to see it. One thing that have oftentimes felt really good is just sort of like the random spaces in which we feel affirmed in our genders, the random times, the random moments, and DB, your story highlights that so much. I'm like having an argument with somebody and they insulted you, but also affirmed you. What happened, babe?
Baby, oh Lord, that was a cold winter night. No, actually, that was actually dead in the dead of morning on a Sunday. Actually, let me take that back. It was on the Lord's day that this occurred. Oh my God. So this man was at a Dunkin' Donuts. I was trying to get coffee because I'm trying to wake myself up, right? It's on 125th. I'm up here in the middle of Harlem because I'm working, right? So it's not that type of working, y'all. Get your minds out the gutter.
I mean, listen, we love all the work,
we love those
It's
girls.
okay if you was working like that. It's
It
quite
was the
okay,
perfect
sister
But
girl.
I'm not that
baby.
kind of girl. I'm not that girl.
This is
So,
a safe space, boo. This is a safe space.
Okay.
oh baby, if sweetie, if I was hooking, it wouldn't be on 125th Street. I can tell you that now. But shoot, 125th trying to get coffee because I was actually working, whatever, waiting on the person who I was partnered with, and this person is just going off at the mouth at everybody in the store, right? So I'm over here trying to get my coffee. The owner or the manager is chasing this man out. And then I'm like, oh crap, I have to go up the block because he's heading in the block where I parked. So I'm like, okay, now I have to go back to my car and pass this man. So then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna pass this man like a bad bitch. So I went fixed my ponytail and I got my coffee and I just strutted out, right? In my nice because I just bought my new winter boots. I bought a new coat. I was looking cute. So I walk past the man and this man just goes like this. And I'm like, excuse me? I know you a lie. So then I give him I look him up and down and he starts, spewing off at the mouth. And I'm like, he said, I'm gonna beat your tail. I'm like, okay, I wish you would. So he's like, oh, he's like, you don't know. I'm from Harlem, my baby. I'm from Brooklyn, so it's good. Like, what are you telling me right now?
I know
And
that's
then
right.
then we were just going back and forth, and I'm over here trying to inch back to where I parked. And so he starts really like trying to keep up pace. I'm like, don't if you want to come and find out, you can come and find out. He's like, you know what? Fuck you, you fucking broad. And I was like, sorry for the cursing, but hell, this is Transgender Day of Visibility.
Fine, girl. You're
I can
fine.
feel
You're
it.
grown. You're grown.
So I am grown. Okay, period. So he's like, fuck you, fucking broad. So I was like, did he just call me a broad? Like I was so confused. I was dumbfounded because I'm like, so I was expecting, I was expecting the F slur, I was expecting the T slur, I was expecting all these other things broad not being one of them. So I literally was stunned, and I was like, so I don't know whether I should be offended or happy right now in this moment, because to this man who doesn't know me from a hole in the wall, I read woman enough to be called a broad. And in New York, that's kind of like, for me, that's a compliment. I'm like, oh, I've reached broad status. I love that. I love that for me. And yeah, so that's kind of like that story. And I'm like, that was the first time that it's ever happened. And it just seemed like ever since, it's just like it's the same similar affirmations by even crazier men. But I guess men, they'll have their own section.
I'm
Oh,
so
baby.
glad you mentioned this story when we were doing the filming, because it is something I've experienced as well. Being harassed as a woman and feeling validation, and it's something I think a lot of trans people experience, especially trans women. And I've heard, cis women who are like anti-trans talk about how that kind of thing is an example of why we're kind of just playing dress up, or we're not real women, or we're like this is a fetish or a game to us or something. It isn't, obviously, but when you are so starved of validation for so long, you take it even in a negative, situation like that. And it just goes to show you how shunned, how unvalidated we've been our entire lives, how shunned we've been, so that's an important thing to remember.
Yeah,
it's so
absolutely.
it's so interesting. Like, I had such a similar experience in Trinidad. In the height of the pandemic, I had just it coincided when I decided, in going out, I was gonna be my best and dress my best every day, no matter what. Even though at the time all that was really open was, bank institutions, and I had some banking to do, baby. So I went out to the bank, and of course, the teller that I got was a male teller, and I had to present my ID in order to get my transactions done. So I had to present my ID, and then I sat down waiting. And at this time, I was bald. I had shaved my hair, my head completely bald. But I was a bald beauty, baby. Right. And so I'm bald, I'm in this beautiful dress, and I'm sitting next to one of the security guards. And the teller comes back up and he's like, "Hey, I have your documents ready, bro." And I kid you not, the security guard looks at me and he looks back at the man and he looks back at me and he said, "Did you just call this beautiful fucking woman a bro?" He was like, "I should pick you up and slam you out." And he just went off. And the tiny man behind the counter tried to explain himself. And I just went up and I took my documents and I left. I didn't say an absolute word. I just left all of them to deal with it. But it was one of those moments where, even just hearing it, I kid you not, we get that sense of you begin to see red. And I told myself, I said, "Girl, the life is too short and I look too good. So I'm just going to go up to this man, get my documents, and bounce." But it's so interesting. And I know we're going to talk about men later. And I really hope we don't have to spend too much of our beautiful, holy, sacred Trans Day of Visibility talking about men, because I really don't think they deserve too much of our time.
But we need to talk about it, sis. We got to speak on it.
Prickly, you're gonna start the soft girl. but Zoe, you were saying?
I was just saying, it's such an interesting thing. Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
I will say to you, the affirmation is so amazing. Honestly, girl, I would have taken that and just ran as you did. But and I found, my identity being affirmed too. I don't know, like 2 times. I don't know if Mo remembers. So Mohammed and I, we were in a leadership training session, and we were all like in a Zoom training, and one of the girls was like, "Oh, he's something something." So I was like, "Who?" I was like, "Who?" I was like, "Huh?" So Muhammad was like, Muhammad messaged me on my phone. I was like, girl, did she just call you a he? I'm like, she could never be talking to me. Because my pronouns were there, girl. It says Tiffany Jade Monroe, she/her. Let me tell you, she realized what happened. She was apologizing from the beginning straight to the end. She was like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry again. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Don't you love it when we catch it in a professional kerfuffle like that?
I was like,
I have too many stories about that.
It's giving I'm calling HR.
I was ready
I
was ready to read her for filth. I was ready. I was ready to. And
I had to read a couple of them. I will say like the last win.
I will say this to you too. Like I have like a few people that know me. And some of them still know me as the dead name. So I would be like talking to them on my phone and stuff, or sometimes we would hang out and I would invite my boyfriend and stuff, and they'd be, oh no, and my boyfriend would be like, oh, you mean she? And then they keep going and then he would be, oh, you mean her? And then then he was like, they called the dead name. Oh, he's like, oh, you talking about Tiffany? So I was
damn right.
I was
that's a black king right there.
I was here for listen. I wasn't here for it. When my first book, when she's like, I can't really I can't get it. I'm not really adjusted to it as yet. But your boyfriend was correcting me though. He was correcting me like every minute, every goddamn minute. He was correcting me. I was like. At this point, like, come on, what are we doing? Are we gonna do you want me to have a name tag say, hi, my name is Tiffany Jade Monroe?
Somebody literally just asked, a question, that similar question, how is it appropriate to ask about pronouns? And, the answer I say is, yeah, it is
always
perfectly fine, normal.
Yes,
it is
definitely.
Do what you gotta do, babes. Though, like both Zoe and Tiffany's story reminds me of like last summer, because the girls were out, we were outside,
right?
And I was outside doing, as the girls say, shaking my ass on a yacht, and I was at this party,
driving the boat.
We were going into this party, and interesting enough, it was also a queer trans-Caribbean party because you can always find me there.
Right.
And it was on a boat, which was good because sea, water. Oh my gosh, stereotypes. Anyway, and I was going up into the line, and there were two security guards there, a cis woman, cis man, and they were both searching everybody. And when he came up to me, one of the organizers for the event, the guy was like, okay, you come over here. And he attempts to pat me down until one of the organizers was like, no, over there, over that side. And I remember thinking, and then he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah,
right.
Okay.
Right.
And I honestly, I didn't care because one, they had us outside for an hour and I just wanted to get inside the boat. But two, I was like, you're patting me down. I get pat down all the time. What's gonna happen? And I didn't find anything, but like in that moment, I was like, oh, this feels really affirming right now. Like there is something going on here that made it so that you're like, and I was like, I guess it was how cute I looked. It was the braids, it was the hair, it was me. And I think that's like, it's such a beautiful and affirming moments. Like those small pockets of affirmation just shows up in all of those small ways. And it's almost as if we're just like taking them bit by bit. And obviously it doesn't compare to how affirmed I feel with myself or with my friends or whatever. It's nothing close, but it definitely feels great at those random moments,
Yes.
Looking at the comments here.
We love to see it, Kadeem. We love to see it,
baby. And so we're coming up in our last 20 minutes. And it's been an honor and privilege so far. But we're just sort of like, we're gonna give like 5 minutes to the topic at hand. At the end of the day, it's transgender visibility. We're not frightened for nobody, no man, nothing. We're not none of this sitting there. So, Twinkle, I wanted to start me off because you felt very passionate.
Yes, about it was on your breath.
Something was on your mind, Twinkle, and I want you to start us off and get into, this experience around like engaging in intimacy or intimacy with men or just people at large.
Yeah. I mean, my trans grandmother got one term to say when I tell her about my experience. She said, "You were used and abused and wrongly accused."
Oh, child, it's the wrongly accused part for me.
You were used and abused and wrongly accused and still going through it with these men. I had about 5 failed relationships. I am ashamed to talk at all. Because when I came out as a trans person, I always felt like, oh my God, a relationship will affirm who I am. And once I got a man next to my side, I am that girl, Miss Universe. Girl, and that thought caused me to like run into some relationships that were some very rocky roads. You understand? In some cases, I leave with my bare underwear on the streets. I get stripped naked. I'm able to add this story. The relationships, my sister. The last one, I walk up the coach step, must be about 20 times and down with bangles and with handcuffs on my foot and hand.
Sister, Bestie, we have to fight next. Who we're fighting next time? We have to tussle.
Bestie.
We know who to invite to the cookout.
Okay. Bestie, it will happen. It will happen. It's not the fighting, man. We're going to keep the fun at the time. We want to spend too much time on the topic.
But Bestie, like one thing you said though is like, that is truly profound. And even I feel like I'm still here wanting, still believing that sometimes, where it's like, there are so many of us who, feel affirmed when we're in relationships or believe that like that it's through that avenue that we can feel the way that we feel inside, if somebody loves us on the outside as well. And I think that is such a very real feeling, like we all want to feel loved and we all want to get that form of validation from somebody, and we want to feel sexy. We want to make others feel sexy. We want to, there is that pleasure in it. And so yes, Bestie, go ahead.
No, Bestie, you finish that, then we can continue.
No, I mean that's really, I just think that it's such a real thing, like it's such a very present, I guess, aspect of people, of not everybody, but people's transitions, where it's like, my gender can feel validated through this other person. And that's something that we oftentimes eventually learn that's not the case.
You got a price to pay.
But we have fun learning that lesson.
You got a price to pay for that.
Sai looked like she wants to say something.
No, but I want to say this
go ahead,
before anybody else go quickly though. I think after all these failed relationships, it taught me a lot. And I'm thankful that I had the capacity to watch and examine and just reflect on these relationships and learn so much from them, so that I've been single since 2017 to now. And it's not like I didn't have approaches or I didn't try dating or I didn't try a thing, but the lessons and the price that I paid from those relationships, I was able to walk myself out of the miseries I was walking myself into back from 2017 to this day. And honestly, sometimes I feel boring, but sometimes I just don't able with it and I don't want to go back to the same thing. But right now, I could do with some loving, somebody who could support a girl and these things. I don't mind, but come for the right purposes, because if I see you making sense, you gotta go about your business. There's justice.
That part. Sai, I want you to jump in here, babes, because you was mouthing some things.
No, I was just saying, don't look for validation at the end of a straight man's dick. Like, you're not gonna find it there, at least in my opinion. But
I'm hold on, I got a question. Shade. What about a bisexual man's dick?
Maybe that's better.
Listen,
Maybe that's better. I don't know.
listen, what Sai said there, I understand that. Like Sai, I understand that. That's so true. And this is something that every trans woman out there can relate to. And I want you guys to know, men, I want you to know that we ain't no experiment, honey. If you needed that experiment to be done, honey, you should have stayed in school. You should have done your chemistry, physics, biology, honey. We ain't no experiment. And many, many men out there want to be with trans women and use us as projects and as experiments. We ain't no experiment, honey. I'm very sorry.
Amen. And all God's people say,
Amen.
Amen.
I
No, because
want we go through so much already. We have to worry about the impact that our hormones play with us emotionally, physically, and then for you to come along and manipulate us and make us an experiment and then just leave your experiment as if it was failed. We're not in for that.
Tiffany, what's
right.
his name?
Stop
Tiffany, what's his
testing, stop-
name?
Listen,
I'm ready to tussle.
listen.
I'm ready to tussle. Let's go. Let's
Stop
go.
using us as experiments. That's what I'm saying to you. Like, and that's why you find this one narrative that they have for every trans out there. The one narrative is that we are all just objects for sexual pleasures, and that is not so. We all want love just like everyone else. They see us as these objects just for sexual pleasure, and that's it. It's like if it's a phase, a facade. Would you say, honey?
Some of them need to start being honest with themselves, and like we say, think I need
Come on
stop hiding and boggering.
All
Be honest with yourself and stop doing that.
All right.
You understand? Because a lot
Listen.
of them know that they're flexible when it comes to the sexual urges.
Listen,
And there's just one hide and come to be like the experiment, as you say. But as girls like we who realize that where's the game, we just gotta show them. Not this subject. You gotta find another one.
Listen, Miss Janice said it nice. And in the dark, in the middle of the night, what happened, Janae?
They want to tell you how it's sweet.
Sweet in the dark of the night.
Always.
Oh,
And it's
God.
always sweeter than it's always sweeter than the sweetest thing they ever had. Always.
I do want to
Okay.
talk though about it's I think sometimes it's easy for us to blame men and put this on men, but I think the broader context is patriarchy, because a lot of what these men who are straight identifying, even bisexual men who are curious, a lot of what they are fighting with is the patriarchal notions, right? And even what a lot of gay men struggle with, which is self-internalized homophobia, and I think it's important for us to direct our backlash at the broader systems that enforce these things on men, because they unfortunately and it doesn't take away their onus to be bigger than and expand beyond and conquer that, but they are just living as results of the homophobia that exists and the patriarchy. Right, Twinkle.
That's right.
Speak, my sister, taking notes.
Taking notes, baby.
You better take the notes. Drop the knowledge and take the notes down.
I hope they're taking notes. I hope who's watching, if you're watching, you're taking notes, because we're giving you education. We're giving you trans education.
I must say, Sister Zoe, I'm really grateful that you brought up that topic, because the thing about it, like sometimes the experiences that you have with men, you tend to forget that there's a bigger force behind these same behaviors. And all trace back to colonialism, patriarchy, toxic masculinity, these same notions of what it is to be a boy or a girl, and what it is to be a man, and these things, But sometimes we gotta be honest too with ourselves too. A lot of times too, people gotta be honest with themselves. But indeed, there's a bigger force behind some of these men, and we just can't always blame them, But brothers and
we can still
hold them accountable.
Okay.
That's
right. Always hold them accountable.
Zoe, you beat me to it, because yes, blame may not be the word that I'd use, but holding people accountable and saying, like, this is very evident that you intend to treat me or my sisters this way, and I want nothing to do with this. So we're just gonna stop this right here and out, right? Like,
Okay.
like there is that piece where, it's not the one or the other, or just it's everything happening all at once, right? There is that individual, interpersonal, intraracial, conversation or violence that happens, between trans folks, cis folks, between men and trans femmes. Like, it happens on that day to day, and I hold both. Like, I hold the affirmation that and love and intimacy and the good feelings I get from the same individuals who engage in a kind of violence that I'm like, this is indicative of a larger system, but one that you have taken in, absorbed, and are letting out on me or my friends or my family, and you should be held accountable for that.
Yeah.
It's please.
Yeah, I also wanted to say, I think as us having a conversation within ourselves and with regards to men, I think it's important for, especially for young trans girls, or even, and not just trans girls, well, actually, yeah, specifically for trans girls, and even our femmes, our young femmes, an important, crucial part of your transition that I think we could all pass on as, having been into this, is to not base your femininity and your identity on the male gaze. I think coming into my transition, there was a moment when I had to say, wait, am I doing, what am I doing this for? And who am I doing this for? And by what standards will I approve and be satisfied with my own femininity? I can't wait until my femininity is validated by men for it to then be enough for me. And I think that that's an important part of our journey, and something for the younger ones that I wish somebody would have told me.
Absolutely.
I agree with
and
that.
And I think just to add to that, like, your femininity is yours and it's nobody else's, or like your transness is yours and it's nobody else's, right? Like, there isn't anything that you owe anybody in your figuring out of yourself. It's fine if you want to take 5 steps forward, 2 steps back, 6 steps forward. It is perfectly fine to, as you're sort of like coming into yourself, because I think all of us here can see that we're not done learning about ourselves.
No, absolutely not.
That we're not done learning about all the things in our gender nonconformity and our transness and or our trans, like this is just a step. 6 years from now, when we're doing a Laidback In Heels reunion, calling it, where our outlooks will be completely different. There likely will even be new faces here, and faces with new experiences, new things going on, and we can hold them and just remember that, like, yo, girl, we are all on our very own journeys, and it is perfectly fine for it to be an individual but also communal journey, but one that isn't rooted in this desire to be loved and we all desire to be loved, and we all should be, but this desire to be validated by the male gaze alone, because I'll also say that desire is very valid, and I'm not doing away with it. At the same time, like, I'm hot, so people should know that. No, but those are some of the things. I think we have a question that just popped up on our screen for Tiffany. How would you inspire people out there who want to sort of like transition but are afraid to do so? And I think, it's for Tiffany, but I'll sort of like throw it out to all who wants to answer as well.
I will say to you, first of all, you are beautiful. You are strong, and you need to be brave. You're not going to get the validation that you're expecting from your family sometimes. You're not going to get that validation from your friends sometimes. Sometimes that journey is going to be alone, and it's going to be a long journey. And I want you to be strong and be brave. And I want you to say to yourself that I am who I am, and I am a beautiful person no matter what is happening in your life, or no matter what life choices you need to make, you are a beautiful person.
Mm-hmm.
We must reach a level. I know it's so hard. It really is hard because I've struggled too myself. It really, really is hard. And I really wanted that love from my family. And where was it? Even to now, I'm sure they're probably watching. They're probably looking at this. They check my photos all the time on Facebook. Who cares? Um, it took me a long time to realize that they don't appreciate me for who I am. They're not gonna accept me for who I am. And I know it's so hard. I'm telling you, it really is hard. But look at me. And I am here still fighting. I am here still trying, moving, going forward to my glory of being a beautiful trans woman. Black trans excellence. That's what I say to people. Black
Period.
trans excellence.
Left, right, left,
Thank you,
right.
Left,
Tiffany.
right, left,
Definitely.
right.
And if I could also just add on, for those of you, even though I may not look it, I'm a bit older than my
Mhm.
panel mates, and gasp, I know, but it's never too late. I think I beat
Mhm.
myself up, especially in the early parts of my
Mm.
transition, because I was so mad at myself for starting so late. I was so angry because I felt that I would never be able to look the way I wanted. It would cost so much money to even attempt to look the way that I wanted because I gone on too long. Puberty is all stopped. All of that stuff is all settled in, and this is never going to change. And here's the end result. So it's like it's never too late. Even if
Mhm.
you feel that it wouldn't even make sense. Oh, I'm gonna look ugly when I transition. Oh, you don't know that. You don't
Yes.
know that, and you won't know that until you try. And it's hard to take that first step because you have to mentally come to terms with it yourself first. And even if that takes up to age 40, 45, 50, it's never too late, and it will never, and you will always have support, and you will always be valid.
Thank
Absolutely.
you for
And
that.
something too,
Oh,
you don't
sorry.
always.
Oh,
Oh, sorry.
No,
Before it goes, there's something quick I want to say.
sure.
Something too. You don't need to go on hormone therapy. There are many people out there that have transitioned that are not even taking hormones. And my beautiful, gender non-conforming person is right there, Kadeem. You don't need a hormone therapy, and that's something that some people don't realize, that we don't need that hormone therapy to say I'm a trans woman, I'm a trans man, I'm gender non-conforming. Like, you don't really need that hormone therapy. So yes, you could go ahead.
yeah.
Thanks, Tiffany. I'm glad you said that. But how to inspire someone? Yes, it is very hard. You know, you can find yourself in a position where may not be able
Mhm.
to take care of yourself. You may not have the privacy you need, or you feel you need to transition, or maybe you don't know where you can get support or resources. But like my sister D was saying, it's never too late. I know people who have transitioned in their 60s, both with
Mm-hmm.
and without hormones, and
Mm-hmm.
they're beautiful. I mean, yes, it's a long time to wait, but once it does start, there is a life for you to have. It is possible. It is not impossible, because I used to think it was impossible, and every day I get to see in the mirror that it wasn't impossible, and I get to see it right now. Look, there's 5 more of us here, and then there's so many people who come to our group, and you could see it there too, and you may even see it just walking around. There is a chance, and if you're alive, you have a chance.
I I want to say one thing too. Because I think y'all are like bringing up so many great points. Like, inspire people out there who want to transition but are afraid to do so. Baby, say in the mirror that you're trans.
Mhm.
Say in the
Mhm.
mirror that you're non-binary. Say in the mirror that, you know, you are. And you can be by your lonesome. You can be by yourself. and that's literally all you need. You literally just need to say it to be, and that's the best thing. That's the part I love about gender being so fickle, so prone to shifting, and so prone to changing, is that if you simply say it, there's literally nothing that I mean, there's literally a whole system. There's literally a whole system, but there's literally nothing that tells you that you're not who you are. And so, the one thing I'd say is that you can find those small pockets of validation, and I think we talked a little bit about that. If it's secretly wearing lingerie, if it's putting the towel up to your chest, if it's just putting on a little piercing your ears. We've throughout this story given all of these small minute yet significant ways in which we've all felt affirmed. And like there is something that you have access to affirm you. It feels shitty, that it's not the big thing that you want sometimes. It feels shitty that it's not the thing that you can afford sometimes. But you have your voice, your arms, your body, your well, so in some cases not everybody has it all, but you know what I mean. You have all the tools to literally say and to live your life as a trans person, as a non-binary, gender non-conforming person, and that is enough, really and truly. I saw this thing one time that's like, if you think you're trans, you're trans. That's it. It's that easy.
Just that easy.
It's just that easy. And I guess that's what I would say, that like it's accessible to everybody. The ability to transition is accessible to everybody. Twinkle.
So I want to say one thing before we close. I had a sister who was struggling with addiction at a time, and when I was in the streets, she was coming where I was working, and I saw her because she was wearing men's clothing, and I didn't like. She moved from female clothing where we used to work to get into men's clothing, and I was like, "Girl, what's this?" And my sister ups me in that moment of her lowest level, and she said, "Life is not a competition; it's a mission." And I live with that. My sister died and gone, but many days those are the same words that affirm me when I feel like I'm less than, or I'm not it. So I think if I should give an advice how to inspire people, just remember your journey can always be different from everyone, but life is not a competition, it's a mission. Be good to each other, love each other, share, break bread, love upon your siblings and these things, I think that's more important than competing against each other. And also be careful of who you're telling. If you're a young trans person and you're struggling with you're scared to come out, just be very careful of the people you tell who you are, because some people would play they have your best interest and say you would tell them everything, and then they bust the whole bag and it puts you at a very terrible position. I had this experience already. But above it all, it's never too late. Life is not a competition, it's a mission. And we gotta love each other to the best we can, because we's all we got.
Wonderful. That is and that's on what? Trans Day of Visibility. That is such a great, amazing way to begin our wrap up. Before that, though, somebody asked like 30 minutes ago, like how they can reach out to us, maybe not in the comments, but a lot more privately. And so I just want to say that we all here organize with CEP, and you can access us through CEP. You should feel free to attend some of our events, which we're going to talk about as we're beginning to wrap up. But follow us, like us, and email us and ask to set up a little one-on-one with us. And I'm not volunteering everybody else, but I'm sure we can figure out a way to chat and connect. So definitely wanted to acknowledge that comment before we begin our wrap up. But before I begin that, somebody has something to say, because I heard a thing.
Yeah, before we go, I just want to say thank all of you, everyone here, honestly. Thank you, Mohammed, Kiwamin, for putting this together for us. All of you guys are so amazing, so beautiful. And I will say to you that I know someone talk about pronouns and stuff. Like, it's really great for you to ask, because sometimes you just don't want to misgender anyone. It's really great to ask for pronouns. And I just want to say, like, transient visibility, it's so great to see you beautiful trans goddesses. Like, so great to see you guys so visible, so vibrant, so brave, and so proud. We came from all parts of the world, and here we are today, Caribbean trans women. Look at us.
Not
Look
you
at this.
saying
Look at
all
this
parts of the
panel.
world. Girl, we came from the same region. What you mean?
Look at this. Oh, look at us. So amazing, so beautiful. This event tonight has been really, really great. I love you guys so much, and I look forward for something else, something like along these lines. And when we hear visibility, we just want the world to know that we are visible and we matter. Our voices matter. We have power and strength, and we want you to protect us and to love us. We matter to this world. We are important in this world. And we are all visible. And I know we have lost so many lives, especially so many trans men and women out there. And transient visibility is a time for us to be visible and be proud as trans and gender non-conforming people. I love you guys so much. And for those that are watching that are trans and gender non-conforming, we love you. We adore you. We see you. Reach out. We're here to help you. Some of us might not have had that support, but we will be here to support you. I don't mind being a big auntie. I don't mind being somebody's big mama. Come on. We are here. We love you. And I love all of you guys so much.
Thank you, Tiffany. Love you, my darlings. And truly, y'all, reach out to us. Before we wrap up, I actually want to say a big thank you to The World is Rich for putting on this amazing production.
Yes.
All of the techie things, all of the fancy things. We're not using Zoom, baby. We're not even on Zoom. That's
right.
because it's trying to be visibility. Okay, thank you. No, but thank you so much to The World is Rich for this amazing production and for all of the work that you have done. Thank you so much, Rich. I also want to thank our executive director, Mohammed Q. Amin, for really bringing everything here into the fold. I also want to thank Sai and Tiffany, our trans justice organizers, who really rallied us and said, we're going to have a day, we're going to have an event, and we're going to sit down, we're going to lay back, we're going to be in our heels, we're going to have a drink. I didn't see everybody's heels, I didn't see everybody's heels, but I guess we're just gonna. Oh, there it is. Put your heels on, y'all. There we go.
I gotta represent for the dykes in the audience.
Yes. Yeah, I love that.
I got my purple laces too.
Yes. I just
Come on,
got this
purple
prepared,
laces.
so get into Silver Hill, baby.
And of course, I want to plug in a few programs that we have here at the Caribbean Equality Project. Every month we've been doing our food justice work throughout New York City. We've also been doing our emergency relief fund, and you can all donate to our emergency relief fund. Our emergency relief fund has been crucial to providing rent relief, asylum, just funding, utility payments, just money to the LGBTQ Caribbean people, Caribbean asylum seekers, Caribbean HIV impacted people, Caribbean LGBT low wage and healthcare workers, undocumented and documented families. This COVID relief fund has truly helped folks, so definitely donate. We've also been doing our food justice work, and you can find more about our food justice work at CaribbeanEqualityProject.org. We're in your neighborhood. We're in Flatbush. We're in Castle Hill. We're in Southview. We're in Richmond Hill. If you are a Caribbean person and we are not coming into your neighborhood and there are Caribbean people in need, reach out to us. Tell us. We'll figure something out. Get us money. And obviously, I want to hand over to Sai and DB to maybe plug your Unchained groups as well.
Yes, thank you, Kadeem. As you can see here, our next Unchained Queens support group is next Monday at Chaya on 121 18th Liberty Avenue. We're actually going to be having a special guest next week, one of our fellow leaders at CEP, Darren J. Glenn. He's a environmental activist, and we're going to be talking about the environment, how queer people relate to the environment, how we exist in those spaces, and things like environmental racism. So it'll be a very interesting meeting. And someone asked, how do you get in touch with us? Coming to My Unchained or D's, which is at My Unchained is the first Monday of every month, and D's is the last Monday of every month. So the best way to get in contact with us is to come to the Unchained, either one, because that's where you'll meet us. Other leaders will be there, and so many other amazing people that you can meet from the community are also there. So it is the best place to get in contact with us, to see us, to talk to us. So yeah, definitely come out next week. We have food and we have Metro cards and incentives. So it'll be a good time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sai. And lastly, as the host, I just want to say that y'all have been a pleasure to be around. I would not want to spend my Trans Day of Visibility with anybody else than you five amazing folks. This has truly been an amazing moment of intimacy, and I know we share this often. Like, just so the audience knows, like, this just happens to be televised, but we do this all the time.
I know.
and it's so great that we got to share this with the world, and we got to share this with you all. And I want to thank everybody for rocking with us these past 2 hours. But I want to thank our amazing panelists, Sai, Tiffany, DB, Twinkle, Zoe. Y'all have been amazing. It's so great to I feel like every single time y'all are here, I learn more about y'all. And thank you. And also, y'all look amazing and beautiful. I'm so grateful for you all. And again, this is to be honest, my best tea dove ever. And so I can't wait to come back again another time with you all. And we're going to do this another time. It's gonna be great. But as for now, we're going to sign off, and I want to say a big thank you to everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Happy
Trans Day of
Visibility.
Happy Trans Day of Visibility.
Bye.
Bye.